Welcome to episode 3 of the Taos Semana. My name is Gabe, and I'm here with Jack and Ethan, and today we're discussing COVID 19 facts, fear, and future. Go ahead and run topic number 1.
Okay, so our first topic, I compared the cases, population, and deaths in Ohio to the US, and I have Henry County, and I also have New York as an outlier. So in the US, the total cases of COVID are 2.7 million. However, the population is 328.2 million, and the COVID deaths is 128,000. And then going a step down, in Ohio, the COVID cases are 45,537. The population of Ohio is 11.69 million, and the COVID deaths in Ohio is 2,704. And then going down even more, in Henry County, the cases of COVID is 28. The population of Henry County is 27,006, and there are 0 COVID deaths. So what do you guys think about that?
Well, first, from population to cases, that's not that many, but most of them are elderly age. I'm assuming.
Yes.
Ethan, what's your take on that?
Well, I think because the death rate is so low, it's because we reacted quicker to the COVID. Like, we started to lock things down way before it got bad. Like other states, they didn't lock down until it was way too late, and they suffered the consequences.
I also think that those low numbers, like we should, in regards to reopening or when to reopen, it should go more of like a region of a state or county division, because like we only have 28 in our entire county, and that's way different than some other counties, so that kind of influences how it can reopen. And just as contrast, New York has 393,000 COVID cases as opposed to Ohio's 45,000, and the population of New York is 19 million as opposed to Ohio's 11 million. So even though we're 8 million off, they have 393,000 as opposed to 45,000, and their deaths are 24,800.
Wow.
So that was one of the states where like the governor didn't take it as seriously right away, and there were a lot more deaths there. Okay, you guys want to move on to the next topic?
Sure, yeah.
Let's go.
Okay, the next one, this was according to the Wall Street Journal on June 12th. 80% of the US COVID deaths are above 65 years of age, and the median death age is 80 years old. And according to Macro Trends, the 2020 life expectancy is 78.9
So if
years.
you're
Under 65, you have an 80% chance that you're not going to die from it, basically.
Alright.
Which means you still have more time to do studies on it and more time to find the cure due to it being around the same time as the death.
Yes. And so then, like, as long as people aren't coming into interactions with older people, then they're not going to die from it. You don't want everyone to get infected, but it's not as deadly as people think it is. And then I also have another thing just explaining how COVID spreads. It spreads through respiratory droplets released by talking, sneezing, or coughing. So basically, like nose or mouth, anything that's released from there is how it spreads.
Sort of like the flu.
Yeah, and that's also how it gets infected. It has to go in there. And it's a pretty good assumption that if you touch something and then touch your mouth, you're going to get it.
Sort of like the real life cooties.
It is like cooties.
Dude. Shut up.
And according to
Am I
studies...
wrong?
What?
Am I wrong?
I don't know.
According to studies, COVID can last 24 hours on cardboard, 4 hours on copper, and 2 to 3 days on plastic/stainless steel surfaces. So it doesn't last forever. It'll be there for a little bit, but as long as you disinfect things that people are coming in contact with a lot, you'll be good. Now, what?
I've seen like businesses are starting to do that. Whenever someone's done using like a surface or something, they'll wash it down with a wet wipe or some sort of cleaning product. So
Yeah.
if we do that more, it could stop the spread of COVID.
And that's the thing, like especially in places like here where we only have 28 cases, as long as we sanitize, you'd think we'd be able to open. Which kind of leads into our next point that's a little more interesting. I compared COVID-19 to the swine flu or H1N1 outbreak in 2009. So far the recordings for COVID have gone from January 21st to June 30th, which is about 6 months. And the swine flu cases were from April 12th in 2009 to April 10th in 2010. So that was about a year, and we're about 6 months through. So the confirmed cases worldwide of COVID were 10.5 million, which it could be a little more considering that the communist China lies about everything. And swine flu, the confirmed cases were 60.8 million. And considering we're only halfway through the time period, like, we're only 6 months in and this is 12 months in, that's a big difference regardless.
Yeah.
COVID does have more deaths. COVID has 512,000 deaths and swine flu has 284,000 deaths. So COVID's more deadly so far.
And it's easier for COVID to spread because most people, they don't even know they're sick until like a week
a week to like,
I think it was like 4 days to 2 weeks. You don't even know you're sick. So, and all the time in between, you're still contagious even though you don't know you have it.
Yeah, and swine flu, I believe, was like a week to 4 days.
Yeah.
You could find out and then
and it's similar to COVID in that it's a respiratory thing, but yeah, you could figure out you had COVID. You could not figure it out as soon as you had swine flu. But also, I think this is really where swine flu kind of evens out. The average death age for swine flu is 40 years old, and the median death age for COVID, as I said earlier, is 80 years old. So even though there were less people dying, the people were a lot younger.
Yeah.
So, what do you guys think about that? Which one do you think has been worse so far?
COVID, since it's killed more people.
Yeah, COVID has killed more people.
I feel like it's also impacted more countries. It really scared everyone when it happened because it was a pandemic like no other. People just started, in Italy, first off, was rocked. China was rocked. The US was rocked.
Still.
Germany,
really. It really scared a lot of countries.
I didn't even realize though swine flu had 60.8 million cases, and like who knows how many we haven't diagnosed yet, but I don't feel like it could go up another 10 million if we would have got more than half of them at least.
But
moving on to our last topic, I think this will be the biggest talking point. From the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the U.S. unemployment currently stands at 13.3%. And at worst during the lockdown, I believe it was towards the end of February, it was at 14.7%. And according to CBS, the Ohio unemployment May 23rd was 16.8%. So we've seen a big spike in unemployment recently. And then from BBC, the U.S. has pumped around $3 trillion into the economy because of COVID-related issues. And the total spendings is estimated to be about 14% of the economy.
Wow.
So what comes to mind when I see that, the $3 trillion, the unemployment, is that I think two things will happen, either or. We're either going to have to hyperinflate, tax more, which those are in the same section, like stuff like that to accommodate for the $3 trillion we pumped into the economy. And then I also think if we just put it off for a few years and then it comes back to bite us after we're in huge amounts of debt, I think there might be another downturn in the economy. Who knows how long it'll take? Might be 5 years, might be 50 years. But whenever we try to face this and try to get rid of that $3 trillion of debt that we just added on, I think we might see another dip of the economy or hyperinflation, which nobody really wants to be told that your dollar's now worth 90 cents.
Yeah.
The U.S. was already in a crap ton of debt before this, and this is just adding a lot more.
Yeah, we've been in Shoot,
I
we've
think
been in
we're
debt
like-
for a really long time now.
I think we're at $24 trillion of debt.
So yeah, I think it said currently we're standing at like $25 trillion in debt now.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And so like when you hear about that, it's like sure this money that we're pumping into the economy, it has a good short-term effect, but dealing with it in the future is going to be bad. It was like with like Medicare and the housing projects back in the 60s. They were good short-term fixes for the struggling community, but then in the long term it was not good.
You just ended up, everyone else had to end up paying for it. It's sort of
Right.
like you going into a McDonald's and buying a burger and then you get it free. It's nice for you, but then the next guy's got to come in and pay for it, which
Yeah.
is
And it's like that's the thing. It could be a difference of evils, like whichever is the smaller evil. Like who knows? Maybe this $3 trillion pumped into the economy stopped the economy from crashing altogether. But who knows how much it'll dip in the future? It's kind of you have to like weigh it out and see which would have the bigger effect.
Yeah.
But I don't think pumping $3 trillion into the economy would be as effective as opening it up. Like that, the best way to stabilize the economy would be to get it as open as possible. Which
you still have to stay safe so people don't
Right.
get, so COVID doesn't spike and kill a bunch of people.
And I think shutting down right away was the safest possible idea, but there were so many jobs that like, even though certain jobs weren't quote unquote essential, they were essential in the sense that people needed to be working to stay out of unemployment. And so like we should have considered more like jobs that could be adapted to it. You don't have to come in as much contact as people with people,
Yeah.
even if they're not essential for.
Or create
I think-
new jobs.
I think what we should have done was what Japan did. Like they shut down really early, and now by now they're living a normal life,
Right.
or close to normal life.
As close as they can, yeah.
Yeah, without. Yeah, the virus didn't really spread as bad there as it did here.
Yeah, we shut down kind of early, like once it started getting bad in foreign countries, but it feels like we didn't really have all that much of a plan after, like going into the shutdown.
no.
We just like
No,
locked
no.
it down, and then everyone just stood around and wondered what was gonna happen
Yep.
next. And it's
Nobody
like
knew.
essential workers only. I get the idea behind that, but there are so many random jobs that are essential for middle, lower class citizens that need that to survive.
Even now, I feel like we're still kind of sitting and staring at the world
Yeah,
around us.
just hoping that our government makes the right decisions.
Yeah.
Like now, COVID cases are jumping back up in southern states, and they're starting to close down again. Like,
And
I saw in Florida, Texas, and California, they're starting to shut down businesses to
Right.
stop the spread.
And that's the thing. When you open up, there's going to be a spike. When people start to come in contact, it's just that you can't stay locked down forever. You're just going to have to take that risk, as opposed to putting millions of people out of jobs for 2-3 months. That's not plausible either. And we're already inflating every year by 2.5%. So if we have to hyperinflate in 10 years or 20 years or however long it takes for us to solve this issue, then it could get bad fast, especially
yeah.
if we have to like do it right away and all of a sudden for 1 year it jumps to like 8-9%. That could also have bad effects on people, which could then lead to both the hyperinflation and a downturn in the economy. Okay.
Yeah, this was kind of short due to the fact that we lost 2 members here. There's only 3 of us, as you can see.
Yeah.
I didn't really say that in the beginning because I forgot, but just kind of went on, so I thought, oh well, doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think that's all we have right now.
Your mom.
Your mom.